What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Two guys, one mic. Repping strong here. All of us back. However, if one week we were going to miss, this is probably the week we all want to miss together. Our teams did not perform very well last week. That's for sure. Nothing new for my guys, but kind of a low after a really high for them boys over there in Dallas, huh?
Oh yeah. Wasn't good this week.
Yeah, there were some developments this week in the Pittsburgh team that I don't know if it's even going to matter, but I don't know what's going on with Pittsburgh. We'll talk about them for a little bit. We'll talk about the Cowboys and how, the difference between the Cowboys at home and the Cowboys on the road just astonishes me. You got anything to say about that? Either one of you?
Yeah, they better fix it soon. It was just, even the commentators were saying, like, their defense is built to rush the passer. And when Buffalo came out and was just running it down their throat, they can't stop it. And then they got behind and they can't rush the passer when everybody's playing with a lead and running it, and that's what happened. Bills came out and punched them right in the mouth, and they couldn't do nothing with it.
Right.
And Josh, I don't know how you feel when you had him in Green Bay, but one of the things that always kind of disappoints me with Mike McCarthy is he never seems too good at making adjustments.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think in the moments when they're doing well, it's like awesome. They when the highs are super high, but then, when you're kind of, you're behind the eight ball, seems like you just can't seem to figure it out. I don't know. It's weird. Definitely get that.
Yeah, it was weird. Mike, you and I were kind of talking during the game a little bit that the defense kind of reminded me like the Steelers the other day against the Colts, where they just couldn't stop the run all of a sudden. These defenses that were strong, that were good, they literally just lined up and just kept running, and they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah, it was surprising. Credit to Buffalo, though. If they can come out and play like that every week, they're a real threat. Josh Allen didn't even have to do anything that game.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, sorry, not to interrupt, I feel like, and again, we talk about this every single week, it's funny to me how every single week one team looks good and then the next week they look like garbage. It's the funniest thing this year. I think we've had the most inconsistencies for really good teams, really bad teams. It's just, that's what the NFL is right now. Teams can't seem to they beat a really good team one week and then all of a sudden lose to a bad team. It's interesting. So your point of if Buffalo keeps on playing like this, is Buffalo going to be playing like this? I don't.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know. It's definitely a crazy year for sure.
Well, and Josh, you and I have talked about this right from the get-go. Mike, you've agreed with us too that this year, you're right. This year, more than any other year, who's going to catch hot at the right time seems to be what's going to happen, because there's not really a standout on really either side of who's going to go. But if Buffalo can continue to play hot right now, they're going to need a little bit of help. But they catch fire and they get into the playoffs, they'll be a real scary team.
So it's interesting. After the Buffalo game, they were talking about it. Buffalo plays two. I can't remember their schedule, but two mediocre teams, and then Miami plays two harder games, including Dallas, I think, right, is one of the games, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this weekend.
And then they meet up. The final game of the year is head-to-head. So if they can win out, or if they can win the next two, and Miami loses at least one, then it'll be decided that last week. So it'll be kind of interesting.
It's the Chargers this week and the Patriots next week.
Yeah, come on, like.
Yeah. And Miami's at 10-4. If they were to lose the next 2 weeks, because they go 10-6. Buffalo wins the next 2 weeks. They meet up both at 10-6.
And even if Miami wins one, they'll still have the tiebreaker because I think Buffalo beat them the first time. So they'll, if they're not the same ranking, going into the game, it doesn't matter because once they win, they'll have the tiebreaker.
Okay.
For divisional.
Gotcha. And where did I just see them?
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, the Dolphins have
Cowboys this week. Cowboys this week. And then
what's the next one?
And then
Baltimore.
Yeah, and then the Ravens.
So come on, I mean.
Yeah.
I think that's been the kicker for can the Dolphins win either of those two games, improve that they should be on the top, because Adam, you've constantly said the strength of schedule for the Dolphins has really helped them become this higher powered team in the AFC.
Yeah.
This is going to be the 2 weeks to do it, right? The final 3 weeks with Buffalo included.
Yeah. It's kind of similar on the Cowboys-Eagles side of that too, isn't it? Don't the Cowboys have a couple of tough games here, and Eagles have like the Commanders and the Giants left?
Yep.
Yeah, the Eagles finished up with the Giants twice in Arizona.
Yeah.
And Dallas has to play Miami and then Detroit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's pretty tough. I mean, you guys got a little help this week with the Eagles dropping to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, that keeps you still as the divisional leader, right?
Yep. For right now.
And then you got a little rough road ahead of you. And
what do you, Mike? To talk about a little bit of Cowboys, do you think Dak was to blame at all for that game? Because he really didn't play a very good game. We talked about last week a lot about how Dak needs to step up in these games. He's considered an MVP candidate. He didn't look, from statistically, I didn't get to watch all of the game. He didn't look statistically good. What was your thoughts?
No, he didn't look great, but it wasn't all on him. Not for sure. It was the defense. The defense gave up a lot. They couldn't stop the run, basically. And early on in that game, the momentum was just killed by a couple big penalties. They stopped Buffalo on a 3rd and goal, and they got called for roughing the passer. And then they forced them to punt and got called for a roughing the kicker penalty. So that's 2 big drives that were able to go on, and Buffalo scored points on them, both touchdowns on each. So it was a little bit of everything. Definitely not all on Dak, though.
Right. But do you feel like he obviously has to be, he's got to take the blame as the franchise quarterback and, as Dak, right? I mean, I feel like we put a lot of blame on him for if they're doing great or if they're doing,
Yeah, well, Dak had a few games in a row there where he looked MVP caliber, and this year or lately, it's been even the MVP caliber people. As soon as they have one semi-off game, it's still a good game, but it's not their elite game. It starts to question their MVP candidacy for some reason.
Well, I mean, this year it's kind of weird, right? Mahomes, if Josh Allen somehow can come back, his stats look, I mean, obviously after last week looked pretty good, but we were talking about last week, Brock Purdy, Dak, McCaffrey, and Hill were probably the top 4, right?
Yeah.
To be the leaders there, but I mean, it's interesting. After 1 week, I'm sure they're probably crapping on Dak right now.
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
Well, and another thing that I just checked and looked at is not really in Dallas's favor if you look at it the way it's been playing out this season is 2 out of your next 3 games are away.
Yeah, but
Miami's away and Commanders away.
yeah, Washington is Washington.
Well, they play the NFC East, except for the Giants,
That's
pretty
true.
tight.
That's true. But we should be able to beat Washington, even on the road.
You should, and take
Miami this week is going to be tough, but
yeah, and having Detroit in in Dallas is going to help in that game.
It's
yeah.
gonna be a good game too.
Yeah.
It'll be a good game.
So, but you guys clinched though, didn't you already clinch? Dallas is in the playoffs, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're good. You don't have to worry about it. Whereas, Josh, you and I are fighting, trying to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, I tell you, like, the emotional roller coaster that both of our teams are going through. Again, the NFL this year is just, but it is straight up like first half, like a little bit was good, and then after that, I was like, all right, let's go for the NFL draft. Let's go get a good player, and then we get a hot streak, win like 2, 3 in a row.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, we have a chance. We're 7th in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden it's like another tough loss.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch the game, as only got to see little bits here and there. It looked ugly. Definitely was ugly for sure.
Your defense struggled this game more than anything else.
When you make Baker look like a Pro Bowler, you obviously have some issues.
Well, and so that brings up one of my players is a big Green Bay fan, and he just likes to talk trash to me about how awful the Steelers have been, right? So the last couple of weeks, as soon as the Steelers have lost, he's run his mouth. And I told him on Saturday when he chirped about it, for as soon as the game hit zeros, he texted me and said L for the Steelers and Colts game. And I said, bud, you want to be careful talking trash before your guys play. And sure enough, here comes Baker and the Bucks coming in and putting another blemish on Matt LaFleur's December record, which I feel like is kind of like a jinx maybe I put out there. I don't know. If it is, my bad. I'm sorry. I brought up how they were undefeated in December, and now they've lost 2 out of their 3 December games this year. But I've been hearing some chirping going on, Josh. I don't know if you want to expand on this or what your thoughts are on this, but there's some questioning of Joe Barry now.
Yeah, I did hear a little bit on that. I'm a big component on similar to. I guess I wouldn't say big component, but like I would stick it out. He's been, the defense. Honestly, with our wins, I feel like have won us the games. I mean, obviously, Love has looked good in certain games, but I feel like the defense has been good. Again, we've been hit with a lot of injuries. I would hold tight on it and see where it can go from there, but something's got to change, right? Something has to. There's got to be. You can't be giving up 400 yards to Baker Mayfield. So
Did you put him on notice?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would at least put him on the hot seat, right?
Right.
Kind of make him feel a little bit, So, but again, unfortunately, when you have multiple players out, I hate to use that excuse. You talk about next man up. You're struggling. We traded away our number 2 corner. Our number 1 corner has been out for how long? Our secondary. We've had a couple bright spots. Come play a little bit. We have the youngest. One of the youngest defenses in the league, so I mean, there's going to be growing pains, right? So, you gotta move with what you have,
Yeah.
and hope it gets better each week.
Now, how are the Packers looking for the playoffs right now?
I think they are out of the. I think they're now out of the 7th seed. I think. I'm trying to think of. I don't know if they have standings on here.
No, they're in the 7th seed right now.
We are still in the 7th seed. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're still. Which shocks me. We've been in the 7th seed and lost twice.
Well, you're the
Yeah.
no, you're out of 7th seed. Sorry,
Yeah, that's
you're
what I
the
thought.
7th ranked wild card spot. So you have Philly, Minnesota, the Rams, Seattle, New Orleans, and Atlanta ahead of you right now.
Oh, okay. We're the 7th.
But
So there's-
but you're a game behind Minnesota, the Rams, Seattle, and New Orleans, and Atlanta owns a tiebreaker over you. So you still have a shot.
yeah.
San Fran, Dallas, and Philly are the only ones to clinch in the NFC so far. So one of the wild card spots is taken. So there's only 2 spots left that you guys are fighting for. And you're honestly, the Packers are still right there.
They are. If you look at, Minnesota's what? Are they 7 or 6?
7-7.
I'm sorry, but they're in what spot as? Are they the
6.
Are they 6?
Yeah.
And they're 7-7. And they look like garbage. So
Yeah, they are.
What time is the Rams scheduled, you know?
What? That's what I was just looking up. The Rams are in the 8th seed. So the Packers, Rams,
the
and
Panthers.
yeah, they
Panthers
have.
this week, Vikings, and then the Bears. So honestly, it's pretty
That's a loss.
going right into the playoffs.
Listen, it's gonna be close. But I honestly, I was telling the kid that's running his mouth to me when we were looking at the schedule. I think the Vikings can edge one out on you guys, and I think the Bears could edge one. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be tight. You know, those 2 games could go either way in my book. Either way.
We're going 2-1. That's all I'm saying.
You think so?
Win-win loss.
Okay.
We're taking the Vikings.
Okay.
The Bears might get the best of us.
So the Vikings have the Lions, the Packers.
Justin Fields is going to end your playoff hopes, man.
So it's looking all right for you because the Vikings have the Lions, Packers, Lions.
Lions, Packers, Lions. Beware.
Yeah. And who was the other one I said was in front of you? The Rams. They have the Saints,
But Saints are also in the hunt.
the Giants.
Either way.
Saints, Giants,
They look good too with
and they end
Stafford
with the
back
Niners.
healthy.
They end with the Niners. Saints, Giants, Niners.
Interesting.
And then Atlanta, who was also one ahead of you,
Yeah, come on, they're done.
has the
They're switching
Colts.
quarterbacks like every other day.
They
You
have
know?
the Colts, the Bears, and the Saints, I believe. So I mean, it doesn't look too bad. The Packers have an outside shot, I think.
I think the Rams are gonna get that number 6 seed. I think they're gonna get it,
Yeah.
and then we'll see. I think it'll be a coin flip for Vikings or the Packers,
Okay.
and we know who's gonna get it.
And I mean, the Giants and Bears are right behind you guys, so they could squeak in there. It'd be pretty embarrassing to have an 8-win team as a wild card in there, but it could happen.
Yeah, 8 and 9. I think last year we had an 8 and 9.
Seattle could still slide in there too. So it could be.
Tampa Bay, I think, got in there at 8 and 9 last year.
Well,
Yeah,
I
yep.
think honestly, if it happens that way, you could probably have 2 8 and 9 teams on the NFC side because whoever wins the South is probably going to be right around 8 and 9.
Well, yeah, divisional. Yeah, that division. I mean,
Right.
they could win at 6 and freaking 11.
Well, and the Seahawks have the Titans, where are they? Oh, Steelers, Titans, Steelers, and then they end with the I think Cardinals, right?
Oh gosh, that's 3 easy wins. There we go.
Yeah. The Titans, Steelers, Cardinals. So you could be down to that absolute last spot that you're fighting for between the Vikings, Packers, and
Seattle.
Well, Seattle will probably take that 6th spot. Well, the Rams and Seattle will be right there.
That's what I'm saying, Rams.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be an interesting time, man. But
good to be alive.
Yeah.
This is what we love to watch.
Yeah, right. This is the time that it gets intense. Which brings me on to the Steelers and the dysfunction that is my heart and soul of football here. There has been a lot of talk about the culture in Pittsburgh is just not where it needs to be. You got people like George Pickens not making blocks that could have sprang touchdowns because he doesn't want to get hurt. We got Minkah Fitzpatrick always being hurt. We had probably the worst quarterback situation you could possibly think about going on right now. Like I really can't think of another team that's quarterback situation is as bad as Pittsburgh right now. Even with Atlanta switching all the time, I think they still are in better shape than Pittsburgh. We're hurting.
Yeah, Cutlets looks better than you guys even last week.
Oh yeah, I would take Tommy Cutlets over. I mean, I would even take the Chargers quarterback there over Trubisky. Trubisky is horrible.
He looked pretty good last week.
Trubisky is garbage, man. He's so bad.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he is.
So
I'm not sure why you're so happy about that, but did you play him or something in fantasy?
He did probably do good, didn't he? It's garbage time, right?
Yeah, he had like 300 yards and something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was the Raiders game.
No, I was just laughing because you said he looked good and they lost by 42 point, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I remember that. I think he did fantasy-wise do good in all them garbage time, you know?
Yeah. But
sorry, Adam.
You're good. It's fine.
Get back to your Steelers.
We don't have to. It's okay because it's just. I think I said this in the group chat. Well, first of all, I had to listen on the radio to the first half of the game because I was out working, which that tells you what kind of season we're having right now. That I
was shocked.
Took a work route instead of sitting down and watching the Steelers game.
The stress level. This guy, he's like, I can't do it.
Well, I mean,
gotta go work.
Honestly, the money was really good, so I was like, I can't pass this up. I gotta go. But the Steelers, I was talking in our group, in our fantasy chat, that their defense just was not on this week, which is rare for Pittsburgh. That's usually what keeps them in the games. Their defense keeps them in every game. But they just weren't there this week, and I think it's because they're just worn out. They're on the field way more than they should be. They're worn out. People are beating them up. There was one point where the Colts had a drive that they didn't even throw the ball until they were down on like the 5-yard line. They literally ran the ball all the way down the field, and Pittsburgh just couldn't stop them.
Who do they have? Who do they have this week? Who's their?
Who are they playing?
Pittsburgh playing? Yeah.
Cincy.
Yeah, that's right. Joe Mixon. Start.
Yeah, I mean, Cincy's running backs usually have good game against Pittsburgh, so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, last year was Pirine had his breakout game against Pittsburgh, but it kills me. And whoever has Cincinnati's tight end is going to be doing pretty well too, because apparently we can't cover tight ends. Mo Alley Cox had a huge game against us, and the week before that, Hunter Henry had a huge game against us. I think our guys are, and we lost KZ for the year on that ridiculous hit that he did, which put Michael Pittman out of the game.
Did he leave the game completely, Michael Pittman?
Yeah, he was in concussion protocol.
Yeah. They fined him. They took his money away for the whole year, right?
For the remainder of the year.
Right, remainder. That's kind of crazy, don't you think?
Well, I was looking at it, and there have been some criticisms about this play. Tom Brady was actually very vocal about it, and he said, you can't punish a defender like that. He also has a right to that ball, and he was also going for the ball. It was a freak accident, but he kind of put it on Gardner Minshew for putting the ball in the position that he put it in and having a bad throw. Now, it was a vicious hit, and it sucks to see Pittman hurt. Last week, especially for me, because he's on my fantasy team, I'm like, dude, the Steelers are just really trying to put me in the ground here with poor play and then taking out one of my high-scoring fantasy players. But I don't know that he should have been suspended for the rest of the year. But I think there's a history of hits with him.
Oh, from this guy?
Yeah, from when he was on Atlanta. I think he was on Atlanta and somewhere else. I think there's been a history of just questionable hits that he's done. So I think that's what played a factor into it.
Alright, well that makes sense. I mean, I think it's a little, maybe they're making an example. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So, but
what's your playoff look like?
Mike and I were just talking about it. I don't think the Steelers are going to get in. They need a lot of help, and they need to win out. And we have Cincy, Seattle, and Baltimore.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, and then ahead of us is Buffalo, Houston, Indy, Cincy, and Cleveland. And Buffalo's got a pretty easy schedule. Houston's got a pretty easy one. Cleveland's got some easy games there. So, we just our luck has run out finally. We got lucky in the beginning of the year. Our roller coaster, we were climbing. We finally hit that peak, and now we're on that free fall. It's coming down.
It's going. It's literally 90-degree ball, man. Going.
Now the only thing that we have going for us right now is we play Cincy this week, the only game we racked up over 400 yards. So it'll be interesting to see if we can do that again. But Browning is playing way better now than he was when he went against.
You know what? There's still a chance, bud. Don't give up yet.
There is, but I think if a couple of those teams win one or two more games, you'll see us eliminated within the next week or two.
You guys can beat Cincy. Seattle's up and down.
Yeah.
And you always play Baltimore tough. So.
Well, we squeaked one out on them earlier this year.
You know what?
It's not over yet, man.
That's a good friend. Because I'm like, dude, you're done.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Put a fork in it.
Well, and actually, we're kind of the opposite of Dallas this year. I think we've played better on the road than we have at home. And we're at home against Cincy on Saturday, in Seattle, and then in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
You never know.
Hey, that last week of the year, Baltimore can be resting starters, bro. They might have the first seed locked up.
That is true. That is something to take into consideration.
Maybe.
But there's such a hatred for the Steelers and the Ravens that even if they play their backups come out fired up, ready to play against Pittsburgh.
And I think, honestly, the backups could potentially beat the Steelers at this point. I mean, I don't know. Huntley. I mean, you would probably want Huntley.
We might put Trace McSorley in, and just let him come back and have a revenge game. Because at this point, I'm like, hey, cut Trubisky immediately. Let Rudolph start. Bring McSorley on for a backup role. Let's see what happens.
I say they figure out somehow to get the Vikings to cut Dobbs. Just be like, cut your losses.
The Vikings might. They put on their third string emergency quarterback. I would take Dobbs back over
bring
Trubisky and Rudolph. I would take
Bring the
Dobbs
astronaut
back.
back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why not? Try it. Why not? But there's been a lot of grumblings going on with Tomlin and his future in Pittsburgh, which is crazy to me because he's had 17 years of winning seasons in a row. And now his first season, where it doesn't look like he's going to get the winning season, people are like, he needs to go. He needs to go. And I'm on the fence about it. I'm not sure. I think you give him at least one more. Plus, I think his contract expires in the next year or two. So he was one of the coaches where they were talking about, like, do you fire, extend, or retire or something like that. You know, whatever. And or trade, I think it was. And you could make an interesting case for all of it, but I think you hold on to him for one more year and you try to bring in a fresh start, new, young, innovative offense coordinator and see what can happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of keep Tomlin, keep Pickett, right? Keep those two together one more year, and then if they don't work out next year, both of them gotta go.
Yeah, and
Get them both out of there.
Pickens, he needs to. I don't know what's going on with Pickens. Johnson is starting to be a little diva-ish. Najee is starting to run his mouth a little bit, and thanks to my friend Joshua, sent us a nice little clip of Najee's running style. His awareness is not there this year. I mean, he could have cut to the left and he cut to the right, and it was kind of reminded me of the Trent Richardson run when he was on. I think he was on Indy at that point.
Yeah.
The hole was wide open to the left, and he ran to the right where there was like four people. You know what I mean? And I don't want to see Najee turn into a Trent Richardson, but
I think Tomlin, he's just losing that locker room buzz.
There's I think that is a big factor. I think he's also gotten stale. He's been there, he's run his course, and it just sucks that after a while a coach just is there for too long. Look at Andy Reid in Philly. He was just there for too long, You know
what's pretty crazy is we don't know what's going to happen with Tomlin in Pittsburgh and whatever, but next year we could possibly see both New England and Pittsburgh looking for new coaches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. They obviously, Belichick and Tomlin both have been there forever.
Forever, yeah.
Belichick will never get fired. Never.
He's going to retire. He's going to walk.
He'll retire. There's no way.
They're still going to look for somebody if he retires.
I've already seen reports, obviously they could be just rumors, fake news, whatever, but saying that Robert Kraft wants to move on from Belichick at the end of the year. He's letting him finish out this year, and then he's moving on from him.
Well, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think Kraft wanted to keep Brady when that whole situation went down, and he let Belichick talk him out of it and let Brady go, and I think there's been harsh feelings ever since then. But I think Robert Kraft could pressure Belichick into retirement. So that kind of saves face. It kind of saves face. They didn't fire him, and he got to leave on his own terms, but they still get rid of him.
Yeah, I don't think they fire him, but I say bring Brady in. You like Brady that much? Bring him as coach. Come on, Robert, do it up.
Can you coach a team and be part owners of another team?
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, if the Cowboys don't make a long run and Jerry decides to move on from McCarthy, I'd like to see Tony Romo get in there. That's what I'd like to see.
Romo ain't leaving the booth. He ain't leaving the booth.
No, he probably isn't, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Speaking about coaches and stuff,
Brady.
where I was going with this is there's been a lot of talk about trading coaches now. Coaches being traded. There's a big buzz on that right now. Belichick's one of them. Tomlin's one of them. Even Pete Carroll, they talked about possibly trying to trade him because of the whole Sean Payton rights trading thing from last year. But I honestly, I said this situation to you when you sent that message about the Chargers and Giants trading and Herbert going. I wouldn't be opposed, and I've been big on this guy for the whole year, who I thought was going to be the next Chargers head coach. But I wouldn't be opposed to them trading Tomlin to somebody like the Chargers or whoever, getting a couple first-round picks for him, and then hiring Eric Bieniemy to be their head coach. I wouldn't mind him in Pittsburgh.
I mean, you're a big Bieniemy, right? Bieniemy, is that?
Yeah.
You're a big man. You like him a lot.
I think he deserves a head coaching spot. I think he's been passed over the last couple years, but I think he deserves a head coaching spot.
Hey.
Hello,
I mean, give him a chance, I guess, right?
Right? I mean, if nothing else, maybe we could steal him away and he could be our offensive coordinator.
I mean, hey, why not?
Maybe you guys go get Kellen Moore.
I don't want Kellen Moore.
There you go,
So let me ask you guys a question. After sending those trades, we had what's his name, Herbert, going to the Giants for Daniel Jones and a couple first-round picks. What would, and I want this to be realistic.
You want it to be what?
I want it to be a realistic expectation. Like, so if you could pick one player from another team to trade for, who would it be, and what would you have to give up for him? And let's keep it like really realistic. Like, you can't be like Patrick Mahomes for 3 first rounds. Like, all right. So let's start with Mike, since he's they're closest to the Super Bowl. If you could pick one player, offensive player, defensive player, somebody to fit on your team, who would you try to trade for?
Oh man, put me on the spot first.
Do you have something, Adam?
Kind of. I would try, and I don't know how well it would go or what you'd actually be able to do to get there, but I would target somebody like a Quentin Nelson.
Okay.
Try to build up somebody in that line for us. Quentin Nelson for, I don't know what they would want for him, like maybe a second and a third round.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might be a little bit pricier than that, but
so that's what I would kind of. I think we need. Broderick Jones is coming along pretty well for us. We need more on that line. Samalu is playing well, but I think if you get a caliber of like a Quentin Nelson on there, that could be big. Because I think obviously our quarterback situation is pretty rough, but I think people like Kirk Cousins might be available, and I think he could come in and play just fine for us. I wouldn't mind seeing Kirk on the Steelers.
What about like a now with this talking about your boy, and I'm sorry, Mike, but what about like a Justin Fields, because they have the ability to get the first round pick. They might go quarterback. They might, but what if they offered maybe a first rounder and maybe like a second rounder for Fields and got Fields?
Yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. I think obviously with the line that we have, you need a quarterback that can run around a little bit.
Right.
So I would be okay with trading for a Justin Fields type of caliber of player. I don't know that we'd have the assets to go for a Justin Herbert, but if he wanted out and he could somehow pull a trigger and get a Herbert, that would also be good for us. But I would definitely say as a Steelers person, I'd focus on offense rather than defense for a trade piece.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I think any offensive player for you guys would help, right?
Yeah.
Mike, you got something? I have one if you don't right now.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
No, I was just thinking of like on the defensive side. like a defensive tackle or a linebacker or something.
I like it.
The weakest point of our defense is stopping that run, and if we could get someone to fill the middle there, that'd be like, let's go out and get Fred Warner or something. I like that.
Fred Warner from the 49ers. I feel like that's
we said realistic. We said realistic.
Yeah, realistic.
Why can't you go out and get him?
Now here's something. Here's one that for you, bud, that I think you would take in a heartbeat, because I know I would, and I haven't heard anything up until recently that there might be some unhappy feelings on his team right now, but I heard some grumblings about Aaron Donald maybe not staying in LA.
Ooh. That would have been a good splash move right there.
I don't know what you have to. I mean, you'd have to probably give up quite a bit for an Aaron Donald, but he's getting older. He's not happy in LA as much as he was before. He's not that dominant piece, but I think a change of scenery. You put a star on his helmet, and he would be back to dominance again. You have Micah Parsons with Aaron Donald.
You just get a little smirk over there. You get a little smile.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah.
I like where you're going, Mike, with it, but I'm going to be honest. With the 49ers team, there would be no way that they would trade off Fred Warner. Maybe.
The only way would be if they were desperate to make cap space, but I still don't think Warner would be one they would trade for cap space.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a middle linebacker that would be, that's high end, that would, that could go, that was on a bad team. But I was thinking for the Packers, for probably past since the beginning, I said we need a possession receiver, and kind of going with the Justin Herbert. What about his sidekick? If he gets traded, why don't we take Keenan Allen, throw him on the team? We'll give you a second-round pick for him. Throw him on Green Bay. Have a little veteran presence, and he'll be our 10 catch a game kind of guy.
Now I got some ideas for Green Bay that would involve both your friends here.
Okay.
You want a possession receiver. We're having some diva issues in our receiver. I know you're big on this guy.
I'll take him.
DJ. We could trade you Johnson and get some, even like second and third rounds for Johnson.
No way. We'll give you like a 6th and a conditional 7th.
Maybe a 5th round, 4th round. But one that I think could actually help you, and I think, Mike, we talked about this early in the year, could be a possibility coming up. Stephon Gilmore.
Guess? Oh. Are you talking about him or me?
You trade for Stephon Gilmore.
Really?
They got, with Bland coming in and stepping up, they got Trayvon Diggs. There might not be a lot of room for Stephon Gilmore anymore. Like, that could be a trade for you.
Yeah, hey, that's a good option.
Would you take it?
I guess it would. I guess it would depend on what we would get rid of. I feel like we have pretty decent younger corners. Owens has been playing good, but I feel like we need that safety. I feel like we need, a good strong safety or a ball hawk guy out back. I don't know, but if we were to go like secondary, I feel like I'd prefer like a good safety, maybe a Harrison Smith,
Interesting.
Rivalry trade.
Okay. How about Jesse Bates from Atlanta?
I mean, listen, if Bates was available, he's a good player. He'd be good. I love it. I mean, honestly, any of these guys would be awesome. But another receiver I was thinking of, T. Higgins, could be an option.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to trade for him, right? Isn't he a free agent next year?
Yeah, I think he'll be walking. I think he'll be going to. I really think he'll go to the Giants, but we'll see.
Yeah, I told you I can see him as a Kansas City Chief next year. They're gonna need a receiver
Maybe he can hit Tony.
or a Raven. I could see him going to the Ravens too, staying in the division.
He'd be good in the Packers colors.
Listen, his buddy over there, MVS, he obviously didn't get much better with Mahomes. Thought he was going to be so good with Mahomes. Okay. Drop ball, boy. We don't want that.
Alright, so let's do a rundown of last week. We had the Raiders beating the Chargers pretty good. We had the Bengals coming back and squeaking in the overtime win over Vikings. Lions bringing the Broncos back to reality. The Panthers bringing one in with a 9-7 win over the Falcons.
You called it.
Yeah, that's about one of the only ones I called. Chicken cutlets just didn't get it done, man. The Chiefs kind of struggled a little bit against the Patriots, but they ended up pulling it off in the end. Dolphins whooped up on the Jets. Texans and Titans in another OT winner. That was a good game. The Bucks beat the Packers, we talked about. The Browns barely beating the Bears. The Niners
came back, though. They came back.
Yeah. Joe Flacco was struggling in the beginning, and he came back and played decent. The Niners took care of the Cardinals. The Rams just squeaking by the Commanders. Mike, we already talked about the Bills and the Cowboys. Sorry about your luck. The Ravens taking care of the Jaguars. The Seahawks beating the Eagles, and the Colts whooping up on the Steelers. So that was last week. What
about the other Thursday night games? Wasn't there two more? Did you talk about them?
It was the Raiders and the Chargers were Thursday.
I'm sorry, Saturday. Wasn't
the Bengals beat the Vikings and the Lions beat the Broncos?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which brings our pick'ems. I'm getting more and more embarrassed every time I have to talk about these things. Josh, you're still in first place. You have a 138-90 record. That's a 60% winning percentage right now.
How many did I have this? What did I have this week?
You went 10-6.
Okay.
Mike, you went 11-5, which brings you up to 124-88, and puts your winning percentage at 58%.
Coming for you.
And I am at 118-106 because I went 7-9 this week.
That loss record's coming for you, Adam.
Yeah, it is. It's coming pretty quick, and I'm at a 52% winning percentage. I'm just football season. The only thing I got going for me is fantasy, and I got the rubber match against Ryan this week, so we'll see what happens.
I like it this week for you, though. I feel like
if my receivers can come out and play and not be, I got Godwin's questionable, Pittman's questionable, and Allen's questionable.
Oh boy.
So we'll see what happens.
Be pretty cool to be able to come on here next week and talk about you guys being in the championship against each other.
I'd like
it.
And
I tell you what, if I could lose to anybody, I would 100% take it second place.
Well,
but
I've lost to Adam before. That's fun.
Listen, I'm more mature this time around, Mike. I'm not like that anymore.
That's funny. That was our Zeke Le'Veon Bell year.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to this week. The Thursday night game is the Saints at the Rams, both at 7-7.
Who's going first?
Jack or Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm gonna go Rams.
Okay.
I'm also going Rams.
All right. Starting off with a clean sweep. I need a Big performance from Kamara. That's all I'm looking for. Then we have 2 Saturday games this week. Starting off at 4:30 with the Bengals coming into my Steelers. Listen, no hard feelings, guys. I know what you want to do, what you should do. So go ahead. I'm going Pittsburgh, but I'm sure you guys are both going Cincy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cincy.
Yeah, me too. Clean sweep.
I don't blame you, but again, like I said, this is the only team we've put 400 yards up on. So we'll see what happens. Starting quarterback Mason Rudolph. If Kenny's not good to go, Kenny might return this game. I don't know if that matters or not. But then our next Saturday game, the late game, is the Bills at the Chargers.
Let's go Bills.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Mark it down.
As I told you guys before, William is now a Buffalo Bills fan, apparently. And you should have seen him on Sunday letting Aaron know that the Bills were beating the Cowboys. He's such a little instigator, man. All right, so onto our Sunday games. We got the Colts at the Falcons.
Oh boy. I think I'm gonna go. That's tough. I'm gonna go Falcons.
Okay.
Nice. I'm going Colts. Falcons either lose.
Yeah, I'm going with you, Josh. It's going to help the Packers a little bit here. However, the Falcons could probably lose this game and still make it in the playoffs because they could win their division. So, I'm going Colts as well. And hopefully another big game from Pittman. He returns and he's fine. And hopefully Allen has a good game against the Bills. Returns and has a good game against the Bills. Then our next Sunday game is Seattle at Tennessee.
Seattle.
Okay.
Reluctantly, I'm gonna go Seattle.
Well, that's not good for your team, bud.
I get it.
What are the Titans at? The Titans are 5-9. I'm gonna go Seattle. I want to go with Tennessee on this one, but Seattle's got more to lose. I'm gonna go with Seattle.
It's actually a tougher game than what you think, because Seattle going all the way across to Tennessee. I mean, I can see them losing it. But
well, and is Geno healthy, or do they have to go to lock?
Technically starting. So.
And Will Levis has been playing pretty strong lately. So we'll see.
It's been okay.
The next game is the Lions at the Vikings. Josh is going Lions. Mike's going Lions. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Lions. Clean sweep. Just don't tell Ella what I said. Then the next game, barn burner. Commanders going into the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has no chance of coming back this year. They shut him down. Where are you going? Commanders or Jets?
I'm gonna go Commanders.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna also go Commanders.
Man, you guys are stealing my thunder here. I was going Commanders with a high offensive output from Eric Bieniemy's game plan. The next game is the Packers at the Panthers.
Excuse me.
You're all right. Packers or Panthers, bud?
Upset of the week.
Yeah.
No.
So you're
I'm
picking the
going
Packers.
Packers.
It might be an upset with the way Packers are playing.
Well, if they make Bryce Young look like what they made Baker Mayfield look like, then you got a problem.
Then that's true. We got a real problem. We know I'm going Packers. No, you're not. You're not doing it.
Listen,
You said last week that's their last win.
I did. I'm gonna go Packers. They got to fight. They got to fight to get in the playoffs. But this guy who's been talking some trash to me for my team is really making me cheer against the Packers, and I don't want to have to do that. I like cheering for the Packers for you, bud, but this kid, he's pushing it. The next game is the Browns at the Texans.
Ooh.
CJ Stroud back? No, he's not.
I don't think he is. Yeah, I think he's out.
I'm gonna go Browns.
Okay.
Me too. I think it's gonna be too much.
Yeah, clean sweep. Plus, it's going to be easier for the Houston to lose out for the Steelers to get in than it is for the Browns. The next one is the Jaguars at the Buccaneers.
Bucks are hot. Just let you know, fellas.
Yeah, Baker's on a roll, man. He's looking good against the Packers.
Yeah, let's roll with him.
You going with the Bucks?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with them, honestly. I feel like they need to clinch this division. So,
I like rooting for Baker, too, honestly.
All right.
yeah.
I'm going with the Jags.
There you go.
Going
You
with
get
the
your
Jags.
one win against us.
The next is the Cardinals at the Bears. Kyler Murray versus Justin Fields.
Well, you know where we're going, so.
Yeah, I got Kyler and Justin, right?
Yeah. That's another one that you can
I
go
literally
for,
wrote
Kyler.
down. I literally wrote down Kyler instead of Arizona. I'm rolling with the Bears for this one. The next
Your
one
choice.
is the Cowboys at Miami.
Yeah. You know where I'm going.
Yep.
And we know where Dallas plays bad.
Yep.
That's away. Let's go Miami.
You know what? They're going to turn it around this week. It's Christmas time. They're going to be in Miami. Beautiful weather. Let's roll with it.
Listen, I've been very sentimental with these picks the last couple weeks, and I'm sitting at 52% win percentage. So I gotta be smart this week, and they're on the road. I've got to go with the Dolphins.
Analytics, baby. Analytics.
The Cowboys are a different team at home than they are on the road. If they were at home, I'd be riding with them, but they're away. I can't. The next one is the Patriots at the Broncos.
This is going to be a good one. I'm going to go Broncos.
Let's ride. Broncos.
Listen, I'm all about a head coach ripping his star quarterback on the sidelines, so we'll go Broncos. Then we got our Christmas Day games. The Raiders going into Kansas City.
KC.
Raiders always play KC really well. For some reason,
They do.
they just always have their number. However, I think KC's going to win.
I'm going to throw out a little surprise here with KC winning, but Travis Kelce gets a concussion in the first quarter.
Don't say that. We're in the playoffs in my other league.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your other league, bud. I need him to go out in this league.
It's one player, Mike.
yeah,
Stop being like that.
God.
If that happens,
I'm just saying for 2 weeks. He has to be bad for 2 weeks, just in case if you do lose.
Yeah.
Adam,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. I hear you. I got you. I'm with you. Then our midday game is the Giants going into Philly. What you got, Mike?
Ooh, outlets, eh?
You going chicken cutlets?
The Phillies going to bounce back this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mom. Go Eagles.
Yeah. A cheesesteak's better than a cutlet, anyways. And
That's pushing it.
cheesesteak's one of the best foods there is.
chicken cut. You've never had a chicken cutlet though.
I've had chicken. I used to live with fresh off the boat Italian man. I've had chicken cutlets. Cheesesteak is better.
Then you obviously haven't had a good chicken cutlet from Tommy Boy.
Unfortunately for Mike, this is when the Eagles take back over the East too, because Dolphins are going to take care of the Cowboys. Eagles take care of the Giants. And then we end Christmas with a present for me. Ravens going into San Fran. And I'm telling you right now, San Fran's taking it. Merry Christmas, and the Ravens lose.
No, Baltimore.
You would.
Oh, this is going to be a good game. Who's home?
49ers.
We'll go Ravens. I'm sorry. I just feel like the stretch is going to be, the best team in the league right now.
Going against your boy McCaffrey, huh?
I need him to have a bad game.
Oh, that's right. Tommy's got him on the... So, all right, well, that's another week in the books. Rolling up here on Christmas time. Hope you guys and your families have a good holidays, get-togethers, whatever you got to do. Mike, I hope you have a good time with the kids, watching them open presents.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thanks, man. We went out and finished all of our shopping the other day, so now we got to start wrapping. I'm not really looking forward to that, but it is what it is. So,
Close.
Yeah, So, here we go. One more week. Doesn't look like I have very much ground that I can cover on you guys at all. There's a lot of same picks. I think I got 1, 2, 3 games where I picked different from you guys. So,
but at least you'll be in a winning percentage. So,
well, technically right now I'm still in a winning percentage. I'm 52% is still winning. You know how us Steelers fans are, where we have a winning record, so we're still winning.
That's true.
But we'll see what happens this week. Some pretty good games, I think, on the list. And again, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So
Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Football all week, all weekend.
Merry Christmas to all of our fans and our families. We love you all.
Yes, enjoy your holidays. Be safe. Have a good time. Until next week, 2 guys.
You guys.
Mike.
Let's go.
Peace.